The adjunct professor at Liverpool Hope University. He's published extensively and been a keynote speaker at many international conferences. He also has an award-winning website on living educational theory and action research. This is an international resource for the development of living theories in a wide range of professional contexts, including educational and health services. And of course, he's become a good friend of BP and a close associate. So without further ado, our special guest of honor, Professor Jack Whitehead.
Many thanks to Ashwin for that introduction. And I'm called a guest of honor, but the real honor is actually being present here with you, because the book, When the Chalk is Down, is a really magnificent contribution to a literature which Ashwin said should now be coming out of South Africa. That it really is a book that only could have been produced in South Africa, with values that I think Mr. Sharon focused on when he said that even with the Indian he said Indian ancestry, he talked about South African citizenship, but also a contribution to humanity. And it's that I really want to focus on, because by being here this evening, I think in a way we must contradict just something that Elvis said, where he said we should all be outside having fun, okay? Now, I might agree with this sentiment, but for me it is such a privilege to be with you this evening that I really wouldn't want to be anywhere else this evening apart from with you, celebrating this major achievement of BP's text. I think we should all remember this evening, because the contribution that B P Singh has made, and I do hope that you'll all read the book. And my wife, I was on the Skype earlier today, and she said, well, I do hope you'll tell the audience, Jack, that I just found it enthralling. That my wife's a professor of education, and she doesn't make those kind of comments lightly. That her imagination was really captivated by the text. It's not only the humour, and if you get the stories of those trips down those mud lanes in South Africa, I've never read anything quite like it, where it was a genuine risk of life and limb, and you heard some of the accounts of BP saying, determined to get to school, and his staff were really worried about, literally the life being threatened as they were going around that slope with the rain. And he would be there because he was really determined that the staff would give the students the best education possible. Now, why I think the text is so important is because it's got a universal quality in the values that B P Singh has been living. And it's poignant. There are moments of really great sadness, and I hope just later on I might just be able to read you 1 or 2 minutes. It's just extracts from the text. It won't take long, but I want to emphasize the sense of some pain that is actually within the text, and also the meaning that B P Singh gives right at the end of the book to When the Chalk is Down, in the sense of the peace that has come after a lifetime, 25 years, of really struggling to get the land rights and the land restitution that should have been rightly, years ago, awarded to his parents. So it's this continuous struggle, but with humour and energy and a really fierce determination to be as good an educator as possible and to give the best opportunities for the students in his care, whether it's as a teacher or principal or later in relation to administration or union work. That there is that fierce determination, the commitment to those values, to give the children the best possible opportunity in this South African context. Now, I've been literally all over the world in terms of advocating that people like ourselves, ordinary people who are living what appear to be ordinary lives, should be telling our extraordinary stories, just as BP has done. Now, I've been calling those living theories. It's the stories that individuals will tell of their learning to live their own values of humanity as fully as they can. And this text, When the Chalk is Down, is one of the most exciting texts that I've been talking about in relation to living theories. It's because it comes out of contradiction. There is the determination to overcome a social injustice, a passion not to allow that social injustice to continue. And from that contradiction, you get the imagined possibilities. Time and time again, B P Singh works to overcome those kinds of difficulties, the struggles, the blocks, and it's over 25 years, and it's that I think is inspiring. The quality of writing is also very high indeed. It has a literary quality that captivates the imagination. Now that's why I think it is a privilege to be here this evening, and not to be out anywhere else having fun. The actual memory of tonight, I think, should remain with each one of us because of the significance of the text that has been produced. And I do hope that, as I say, that is one of the key messages that I do hope you take from me, because it really is, where you have me as a guest of honour. I should just mention that my international connections, I'm also a visiting professor in one of the Chinese universities. I'm known as a distinguished scholar in residence at one of the American colleges, Westminster College. So when I come here this evening to say there is something very special emerging out of South Africa, it is with that kind of international perspective, which I hope you can hear from me tonight, to say that what Ashwin was asking for, which was a genuine South African literature where your own identity as South Africans could be seen to be a thing of pride, something which is uniquely yours. And this text, as I say, could only have come out of South Africa. It is a story that I think, in relation to your own identities as South Africans, you can be truly proud. And it's what I think Ashwin was wanting, in the sense of a genuine South African literature that you can identify with. Now, I think B P Singh has actually achieved this. It's because of the quality of his writing. As I say, the humour is there in abundance. But underlying it, there are these passionate values, and he does love what he was doing. And I think this is very important in terms of a love for family, because his family are here this evening, his friends are here, his colleagues are here. And it's that quality of humanity which it transcends. It goes beyond the fact that, for example, there is a very clear Indian ancestry within the hall this evening. And that, to be really applauded. You had a guest of honour that was celebrating this book when the chalk is down. Now, as well as that Indian ancestry, which is to be proud of, and to actually say this is part of my identity, I do think what I experienced this afternoon at Durban University of Technology, where I had a very mixed group, ethnically, of research students and master students, who were all acknowledging that they were South African. And this has emerged, remember how young you actually are as a country. But it's only 1994 with your constitution that you could say, okay, it's been 16 years. Now that is almost no time at all to develop this kind of identity of what it means. And I think BP has produced something as a text which will give you, as you read it and think of this evening, think of you being present this evening, and not wanting to be anywhere else because of the significance of what B P Singh has produced. Now, as I say, I hope that I can return in a few minutes just to read just one or two very short extracts to bring out the poignancy of some of the writing, because, as I say, it is painful, some of it, but it's honest. It's also got a vulnerability, but a fierce determination to live those values of social justice that I think, as a young country now, with South Africa coming into its own in terms of its identity, you can be truly proud. So I do commend this text to you, and later on I'm going to actually formally say that the text is now available. Professor, many thanks indeed.
Professor Whitehead, for those wise and inspiring words. You certainly shall be returning when you officially launch the book in a few minutes, and we'll read a few extracts. Now.